Welcome to this webinar. You will learn how to master cover letters for 250,000K salary careers in the finance industry. This will be a comprehensive writing course for you to secure top jobs in the finance industry. And I have used this successful career strategy for myself and over 200 of my clients at top finance firms, at major investment banks such as HSBC, Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan, Citigroup, and Credit Suisse, Deutsche Bank, many more aside from that. There's only so many I can fit in on the screen. And also I've helped across all these hedge funds, asset managers, and private equity firms when it comes to my own applications and the applications of other people applying for top jobs. I've used a successful career strategy I'm going to share with you in this video when it comes to Deloitte and KPMG also. And I'm here to help you do exactly the same. I'm here to help over 100,000 people, ambitious high achievers such as yourself, reach financial freedom. So feel free to go ahead, click subscribe, click like, click the bell to stay notified, leave any of your comments, any of your questions in the comment section, and we can move on now to this. What do we have on the screen right now? We have my job offer for Goldman Sachs, where I was working on the trading floor. And next you can see this is another interview invite I had for JP Morgan, right, to work in their equity derivatives team. So I personally have worked in the industry for over 10 years. I've got this Goldman Sachs job offer on the screen right now. I've got a JP Morgan interview invite and other examples. There's so many to include, but I've included the main ones here. In terms of Citigroup, I've successfully interviewed there again in the equity derivatives team. And also when it comes to Credit Suisse, I've also attended interviews there and at countless other companies. Now in this training, I will help you improve your cover letters and your job applications, when it comes to major companies in the finance industry. And I'm here to help you overcome challenges, right, when it comes to these applications. I didn't have any connections in the finance industry. I used these techniques that I put together through the 10-year course of my career, and I learned how to apply for these top companies in an effective way using these exact techniques to impress hiring managers, recruiters, managing directors, head of businesses at top banks, and so much more. Now, again, like I said, you can see on the screen, Citigroup, Credit Suisse, this has been successful. The strategies I'm going to share with you to get interviews at these companies, my cover letter strategy has been very successful across all these companies. Now, I hope you can continue to watch and get ready to learn so you can do the same, have incredible success in the finance industry and earn a very high paying career. Disclaimers, check out the disclaimers here before we move on with the great content to level up your career. This exciting webinar will take you through all these three sections, and we've got another few sections on the next slide, so I'll talk you through these three first. In section 1 of this training, of this webinar, you will learn the top trick to use for cover letter success. I will let you know exactly what companies are looking for in the finance industry. Section 2, I'll talk you through cover letters specifically for investment banks, and all these top strategies you could also use to apply for any of the major financial institutions you're aware of. Section 3, Goldman Sachs. I will talk you through the Goldman Sachs cover letter example, and this will be excellent for you to use as a template when applying to high salary finance jobs. In section 4, I will give you another example for Citigroup. This is excellent for you to use for your job applications, another template for you to use. And then in section 5, we'll conclude with the next steps to really boost your career, take it to the next level. Stay tuned to the end for some extra special tips to help boost your cover letters, job search process to increase your salary dramatically. So in this webinar, you will learn exactly how you can secure a $250,000 salary in the finance industry. Let's get started with section 1. Section 1, this is the top tricks to help your cover letter and be successful with your cover letters for finance careers. In this section, you'll learn the top trick for these your cover letters when it comes to applications for top jobs. And you will learn exactly what top finance firms are prioritizing currently when looking at potential job candidates such as yourself. Now, on this slide, we're going to talk you through the top trick, right? And the top trick itself is something I've noticed many people applying for jobs fail to do in the finance industry. I've noticed it myself, as when I was working at these top investment banks, I would often review people applying for these roles, right? Whether on my team, in my general business, and they would maybe focus on themselves a lot and focus on their skills and their application and their cover letters, but they wouldn't typically say too much about why they want to work for the company. Now, I encourage you, when you are writing a cover letter, writing your application to a company, that you mention the company's values and their culture on the cover letter. And the truth is, many job applicants typically forget this when they're writing their cover letters, right? They can easily forget this type of detail. They just focus on their own skills. So you can easily push your job application and your cover letter to the top of the list from recruiters and hiring managers by making sure that you discuss the company's values and their culture on your cover letter. So when you write your cover letter, write a few sentences simply explaining how you've done some research about the company's recent values and culture, which we'll go into in a few slides, and explain how you agree with this and how you're willing to support the company's values and culture, perhaps through charity work, through engaging in good business practices, right? So let's go through an example here. What are the company's values, right? So the company's values are typically listed on their own site, right? They would, on their company site, you will see the top 4 to 5 values that the company are committed to. As you can see in the image here, it could be that they're committed to strong teamwork, respecting their clients, strong work ethic, and so on. So for example, if you're applying for HSBC, you can go on their company website right now and see their values. They value good client service, excellence in terms of their execution of their work, integrity and high ethical standards, and good partnership across their team members, and valuing diversity. Now, what you should do in your job application when you are writing your cover letter is talk about how you have some experience and you align with these values. Maybe you previously worked a job where you provided good client service. So in your cover letter, you'll say, I'm applying for HSBC and I see your values are having good client service. I completely agree and align with that. I provided great client service working for another bank, working in an accounting firm, working perhaps in a retail role, things like that. Or you're committed to good teamwork and collaboration, which is mentioned in the last point here around partnership. You could say you've worked in various teams, global teams, working with people from different backgrounds, and you're great at offering those type of skills also. Now, cultural fit is the other thing. So we mentioned some of their values and their business values, but another thing that we shouldn't forget is cultural fit. Many companies now, they have quite progressive and liberal values. So I won't get into politics now, but all I'll say is these companies highly value gender equality, racial equality, and sustainability. So what you need to do on your cover letter is mention how you align with these. Perhaps you support gender equality because you've worked at maybe you've volunteered at university on a feminist society organization for your university. Maybe you help racial equality by engaging in charity work to help disadvantaged racial groups. Maybe you've worked as a volunteer to help sustainability and climate change. Maybe you've helped visit a third world country and clear pollution and trash from their beaches so the beaches can be inhabitable for local wildlife and sea life and so on. So just mention a few examples where you volunteered to help some of these points, because these 3 things are very highly valued by major financial institutions, even though they're not linked to finance itself. Here is an example. JP Morgan on their website, they have incredible sections on their website committed to so-called environmental sustainability. So you would mention on your cover letter, on your job application, how you're committed to helping with financial innovation around the effective management of the environment. Maybe it's low transition, low carbon economy. Maybe you've helped volunteer to help climate change activists. Maybe you've reduced your own consumption, or you've been on a university society or a meetup group as an adult after work where you volunteer to help the local environment. Things like that. I know that might seem completely not related to finance, but the truth is these major financial firms are pushing these type of ESG agendas. And, if you want to work there, you have to show at least tacit support for these in your job applications. Here's an example, right? So you have someone applying for a company, a major financial firm, and they mention how they align with gender equality. So they're positively perceived by the company they're applying for. At university, I actively participated in organising the Women in Finance conference, which served to inspire dozens of aspiring female professionals at my university. To accommodate a diverse audience, I also organised a sign language interpreter for hard of hearing conference attendees and foreign language transcripts for overseas attendees. So this is great in showing how you support gender equality. You focus on good client service by thoughtfully adapting to the needs with helpful solutions. And this is the type of thing you should mention, how you volunteered to help one of these particular agendas that are being pushed heavily by finance firms. And you talk about how you've helped people from different backgrounds, maybe people with disabilities, like you can see here, people who have hard of hearing. You've helped so-called disadvantaged groups like women who are perceived as being somehow disadvantaged in the industry. And you've provided foreign language transcripts to help people from diverse backgrounds. So in your cover letter, you can see in a few sentences, you can very much impress them by using this one top trick. And now you know this top trick, your job applications will be extremely successful. And I hope you're ready for all the job interviews and all the job interview invites coming your way. So feel free to watch this section back if you want to go through it again and apply it to all your job applications. Moving on to section 2. Now we're going to talk through cover letters that are specific for investment banks. Of course, you can use this across the finance industry, but I'm going to focus on investment banks specifically here. And you can find out in this section exactly what they're looking for from your cover letter when you're applying for top investment banks. So you can be a top candidate for the job role, secure the job offer, and secure that high paying salary. Now, when you structure your cover letter, you need to have it in these separate sections. The introduction and your interest in the company. So you open the cover letter with, oh, I'm applying for this job. I've done some research on your company. This interests me. That interests me. And then you go through the second paragraph, the role that you're applying for and the relevant experience you have. You're applying for investment banking trading analyst. Maybe you have some experience trading or learning certain finance topics in your university degree. So you'd mention that also in your cover letter. Then you'd go through the conclusion of the cover letter and mention some further details, maybe focus on your key skills, your main skills, just to stay in their mind. When you're concluding the letter, you're focusing on the highlights of your abilities and why you want to work there. And then your contact details, and let them know, feel free to reach out to me on this number, on my email. So you're leaving the door open for them to reach out to you as soon as possible. Now, in your cover letter, as I mentioned, you need to include your interests and your skills. And we've got a good example here. We have this. My interest in investment banking developed after reading The Ascent of Money, which is a book that addresses the development of the modern finance industry. Financial modeling and forecasting was completed as part of my economic metrics degree, or conducted client pitch presentations at a university entrepreneurship competition. So what are all of these examples trying to show? It's trying to show that when you're writing your cover letter, in just a few words, you should focus on the highlights, right? In the first case, you're focusing on your interest in investment banking, so much so you've read a popular book about finance called The Ascent of Money. You mention your relevant skills, your financial modeling and forecasting skills, which you developed on your degree. And then you conducted some relevant client pitch presentations or entrepreneurship competitions, which shows you have good commercial awareness. You're aware of the financial industry and you're good at leading presentations and interacting with potential clients. All of these things are good attributes to show on your cover letter. Moving on. You need to focus on a particular finance niche. So in this case, in these examples, in this section, you're applying for investment banking. So you need to think, what does an investment banker do? Now, I'll cover this in some of my other videos, but generally, some of the work they do would be producing sales pitches to clients, preparing client presentations, and analyzing their client's company to identify their financial needs, their market competition, and help them grow, help service their clients through finances. So you need to be able to understand that and think about your relevant skills that you have for that particular role and include that on your cover letter. Next, you need to do company research, because you need to include some research in your cover letter about what you know about the company. Talk about their recent profits, which they typically publicly announce. You can see Goldman Sachs. I've taken a screenshot of their recent profits. You could maybe mention their net revenue, their earnings, their increase in profits, their earnings per share, and mention it briefly just to show you have done some research about the company. Many job candidates often forget that companies want to know that you really want to work for them, that you've done your research about the company, you really know about their recent profits and future growth strategies. So this is an excellent way of doing that. Just go on their website, have a quick read, find a bit of details about their recent profits and growth areas, and you can mention that on the CV. The next thing we would do is I would strongly encourage you to mention any unique aspects of the company and why it interests you, or any unique skills you have that make you the perfect fit for the role. In this example, we have someone applying for JP Morgan. Let me go through it and tell you why it's a good example. Following JP Morgan's recent expansion into South Africa, I would be eager to assist in continued growth as a fluent Afrikaans speaker who's familiar with the local business environment. Please see my attached CV for further details on my strong skill set, and please feel free to contact me at your convenience at the contact details at the top of my CV. So let's focus on a few things. This individual has some very unique skills. They can speak Afrikaans, which is the local language in South Africa. And they're saying, okay, I've done some research about your company. I've identified some unique skills I have that are relevant to your company, and I'm mentioning it here. So it shows they're not just anyone applying for the company. They haven't thought it through. They have thought it through. They're not simply just applying, not thinking through what the application is, what the job requires, any unique skills they have to offer. You should always mention any unique skills for the role. In this case, if it's a foreign language, this will very much help your case when you are applying for a job role. So I'd strongly recommend you do that when you're applying for any job. Think about your unique skills and mention that, and also mention that you know how they can contact you. I'm sure they can see your contact details on your CV, but just redirect them there so it becomes an automatic thing for them to just reach out to you without thinking too much about it. It's a subtle skill in terms of selling your skills, because a sales technique, if they see a quick way of contacting you, they'll go ahead and do that. So just direct them to check your CV for your contact details at the end of your cover letter. That's great. Now you've learned how to write cover letters for top investment banks. You know some of the key tips I've given you here. You're well on your way to career success and a high paying salary in the finance industry. Moving on to section 3, I will talk you through an excellent example for a Goldman Sachs cover letter. Right? I hope you're ready to earn a high salary at a prestigious financial institution. You will learn exactly what companies such as Goldman Sachs, top investment banks want from you as a potential new employee at their company. Let's dive in. Let's get started right now. In this cover letter example, which of course I've put together myself, just for the record, it's not Goldman Sachs putting this together. They're not endorsing it. This is me giving you an example of applying to Goldman Sachs to work as an investment banker. Dear Manav Singh, I'm writing to apply to the investment banking analyst internship at Goldman Sachs, which has been posted on your graduate site, which I initially noticed on the firm's Facebook page, Goldman Sachs University Recruitment. So what is good about this opening to a cover letter? You mentioned the specific role you're applying for is getting directly to the point, and it's mentioning where you found the job advertised. You looked on their graduate site and their Facebook page, so it shows you're keeping up to date on the job opportunities available there, and keeping up to date in any news Goldman Sachs is putting out on social media, so it shows you're on the ball. It's a very simple thing to do, but it's a good thing to do. There's some good phrases here you could use for your own cover letter. I'm writing to apply for, posted on your let me do that again. So some good phrases for you to use here. I'm writing to apply, so that shows you are writing to apply for a role. You posted on your particular website, so that shows you're researching that company's websites and their public outlets. Or I initially noticed. These are little things you can say just to show how you are actively keeping up to date with the company's public information on job applications and what they have available. Now, the second part of the cover letter is focusing on experience. In my previous summer internship at the boutique investment banking firm Lazard, I developed key skills such as financial modeling and client presentation skills that are crucial to succeed in this role, which would make me an ideal candidate for this internship opportunity. I contributed to a client deal which generated $10 million worth of revenue for the firm. So what's good here? In your cover letter, of course, focus on the highlights of your performance, your key work experience working for similar firms, such as Lazard. Lazard's a small investment banking firm. Mention any key skills you developed, financial modeling, client presentation skills, and focus on any real results you helped achieve. Even if it was part of a team, maybe not individually, but part of a team, you helped generate $10 million of revenue. That's very important to mention. It shows you have results. You don't simply just work, you do produce results. Some good phrases that stand out here that you could add to your own cover letter. I developed some key skills. In my previous internship, I'd be the ideal candidate. I contributed to, shows you are good at teamwork. There's so many different phrases you could use here. I highly recommend you can take a closer look at this and write down a few key phrases you can add to your own cover letters. Cover letter education section. So in the cover letter, we have another section where you could reference your education. Let me talk you through this. Please find attached my CV, which exemplifies my keen interest in the investment banking industry since I was a college student, which has further grown at the university, where I'm currently a final year student in economic metrics and history. And this degree has allowed me to develop certain skills, analytical, report writing, presentation, and I'll be able to aid your team in leveraging client relationships to generate significant revenue. So firstly, why is this a good thing to mention on the cover letter? You should mention all the skills you've developed, including at your educational institution, not just the jobs you have and your work experience. Talk about the skills you developed at university. Here we have skills such as understanding economics, being good at report writing, analysis, doing presentations. These are all good skills to mention, even if you didn't do them at work, even if you did them at university. Other things to mention here would be their current status. They mention they're a final year student, they're ready to work, that they have some, they're currently studying, so they're ready to work. It shows their level of experience is still quite junior, but that's good to mention. It shows what value they could add to the team, doesn't it? Right at the very end, that they could help the team build client relationships because they have these type of client presentation skills, analytical skills, things like that. So again, we're looking at what the current status is as finally a student, the relevant skills they're developing, and the value they can add for the company. Some good phrases for you to add to your own cover letter. You could use phrases such as, please find attach my CV, I have a keen interest in a particular topic, leveraging client relationships, generating significant revenue. So be really bold in your phrasing on your cover letter, and I think this will help you stand out. When it comes to closing the cover letter, you'd mention wording similar to this. I'm eager to join your team and assist in your future business growth plans to maintain and grow their positions as a major investment banking firm in agriculture and transportation sectors. With a wealth of technical skills and relevant experience at a competitive firm, I strongly believe that I could play a significant role in supporting your team. Yours sincerely, Alvaro Fernandez. So firstly, of course, you'd end your cover letter with a formal ending like yours sincerely. And other things to mention here in terms of closing out your cover letter, you'd mention how enthusiastic you are to help with the investment banking teams, particularly in certain sectors. Maybe you have special knowledge of agricultural firms or transportation clients, things like that. And then you'd also mention how you have relevant skills to offer, such as assisting them in their business growth based on some of the technical skills you developed at university. So those are all good things to mention, and some good phrases for you to use from this to add to your cover letter. Assisting in your future business growth plans, having a wealth of skills, experience at competitive firms, and saying what you strongly believe in and how you could play a significant role. So all good things to mention. Nextly, I just want to summarize this particular cover letter for Goldman Sachs. So what was good about it and what we can learn from it. So firstly, you could say now, essentially, it has very confident language. It has great phrases, which I shared with you. And it mentions several of their skills with some detailed examples of what they've achieved, the revenue they've generated from their good sales skills. So you should include similar things in your cover letter. And in terms of things that could improve, it could add a bit more detail about their contribution in previous experience. They could maybe do some additional research about Goldman Sachs and include that also, as I mentioned earlier in the training. And they could include more information why they prefer this particular role. So there's a variety of things that could be improved, but it's still a good cover letter for you to learn from. Great. It's great work for you right now. You know, you've learned how to write a cover letter for the world's #1 investment bank, and I hope you can secure a job offer there or somewhere similar soon. So feel free to rewatch this section if you found it helpful and improve your own cover letter and job applications and secure a high-paying salary. So next we have section 4, Citigroup. Are you eager to work in one of the world's leading financial firms, such as Citigroup? In this section, you will learn exactly what Citigroup are looking for, what other major investment banks are looking for when it comes to their new employees. Let's find out. What are we going to learn in this example? I took you through this too. So similar to Goldman Sachs, we have a strong introductory section. It mentions that they're particularly enthusiastic to work in the quant team. I won't read through it word for word. I'll focus on the key points. So this cover letter is mentioning that we have Diego. He's applying to work at Citigroup as a quantitative analyst, which is a very complex data analyst team around trading. They've studied at Navarro University. They have a upper second class honors. And it mentions how they developed interest in this particular type of trading, quantitative trading, algo trading, through listening to and reading a book around Michael Lewis and the Flash Boys, which is all around algo trading, high frequency trading. So this is a good start to a cover letter. Let me focus on some of the good points you could learn from here. Mention your enthusiasm, how you've done additional research about the particular company or the topic of work you want to do here, like it says here, around podcasts and reading books around high frequency trading. So you should also include your enthusiasm in your cover letters. And more important, just as important as that, use some of the great phrasings here. You can see some great phrases that stand out here would be greatly interested in securing a role, fueled my interest, recently we have seen, and all of these type of things show how you understand where the industry is, you're doing your research and keeping up to date. In terms of the next section of the cover letter, this individual talks about some of their background, some of their experience. They have completed a degree that involves strong technical skills that they can offer to the firm. They worked as a quant analyst role. They want to work at a quant analyst role at Citi. And they are good at doing in-depth, accurate, timely analysis, which would be relevant for this role. They develop these skills at university. They understand trading strategies. They know how to engage with marketing material from sales. And they are good at doing things in a timely manner. And they understand the time and commitment of the job. So I know this seems like quite a lot of information right now, but the key points that you need to learn from this example on your screen is mention the relevant skills you have, even if you develop those skills at university and not in a job. Analytical skills this person has from their economics degree, right? And then also look at other skills that they have and they understand the nature of the role. They say, okay, it's quite time intensive. There's a daily commitment working on the trading floor. There's a lot of issues around, like I say, working to tight deadlines, being competitive and things like that. So some of the phrases you could also use from here to add to your cover letter: in-depth, accurate, timely analysis, daily commitment, resilience required, tight-knit team, things like that all help you stand out. So we have a continuation of that section. So you can see here how they're mentioning, and I know this might seem unusual, but I really think you should do small things like this on your cover letter. Mention other skills, mention how you develop skills outside of the context of studying or work, outside of the context of your previous work experience or your education. Mention how you develop skills maybe through sports, being competitive, training intensely. All of these things show you have strong grit and determination which are needed to succeed in the finance industry. The cultural fit. Cultural fit would be essentially showing, as I mentioned earlier in the training, that you are supporting the various social agendas that are important for these major banks. Gender equality, racial equality, and sustainability. So how do you do that here? Here this individual mentions how they did some voluntary work around these topics. They previously volunteered to help Milan in Italy, help there with their diversity for women to be more involved in traditionally male subjects such as science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So they help with that, and they're willing to help Citigroup, the company they're applying for, to help them with these type of agendas. As you can see here, there's a lot of good phrases for you to use. Things like keen to also participate as an employee at your company. And things like that. Championing the cause, being a leading voice for this movement, diversity networks, and so on. So these are all good things to mention. Now, concluding this cover letter, this person talks about how they have attached their CV, of course, to the job application, which is obvious, but they also included other things like their university results or some blog articles that they wrote. They have their own finance blog. They want to show their expertise. So they wrote some technical analysis around HFT, high frequency trading or algo trading, and they've included that on their job application to show their skills to the manager. So that's also another good thing to do, and I recommend you do that if you can. And there are other good phrases here, like please find my CV attached, so have a look at my CV. And also my hiring team might be curious to read these extra work I've done, so I've provided that. So these are all good phrases to use, and I highly recommend you use this as a template for your own cover letter. Now, just to conclude this off, this cover letter for Citigroup, of course, is an example I put together myself, not something endorsed by Citigroup themselves. And this is the exact type of strong skills, strong structure you need to have for your cover letter when you're applying for top job roles. Feel free to watch this section back again and use the phrases, structure, or helpful hints for your own cover letters. Now we are on the final section. What are the next steps for you to boost your career? What do you need to do next? How can I help you? I hope you're ready now to level up your career, reach the pinnacle of success, earn a salary of over $250,000 a year. And this section will contain answers to all your questions on cover letters and job applications. So we will help you, and I will help you directly to save time, save money, save energy, maintain a strong reputation professionally in the industry when it comes to job applications and being successful in your career. I hope save you time using these next steps, allow you to reach your desired goal, which would be having a high-paying finance job, and save and make even more money and build a strong professional reputation. Option 1, you can opt for the Cover Letter Masterclass, which is a training, an online course for over 5 hours where I talk you through exactly what cover letters strategy you need to use for job applications and how you could learn through 50 separate examples, over 50 examples of strong cover letters that are known to secure jobs at top companies. So it's important that you, if you want to learn more, if you want to improve your job prospects, to take this masterclass. And the second bonus is report writing guide. Well, I'll give an example to you, many examples to you of how to write a report to accompany your cover letter to show your skills. Maybe write a report around the financial industry and inflation or whatever hot topic there is now. So this cover letter will give you all this type of advice in a very easy to follow online course. Option number 2 is where you hire me personally to write a personal writing service. So essentially you'd be reaching out to me, and all the links are in description, and you'd ask me to write your cover letter or your resume, your CV, your LinkedIn profile, or anything else, and I will help write that cover letter for you and help you secure those high-paying jobs. Now, option number 3 is a free call with me for 15 minutes. You can find the link in the description. You can have a chat with me. I'll help you with any of your career concerns for that time. And I also offer, as part of this free service, a free book where I mention the 5 top skills, the 5 top lessons I learned from 10 years in investment banking. Did I say 5? I meant to say 10. So 10 top career lessons from investment banking. It's a free ebook included with this free call. You literally have nothing to lose. It's a very easy process. Follow the links in the description and we take it from there. Thanks for listening. You have these 3 options: the masterclass, the writing service, or the free career call. Either way, thanks for listening. Check out the playlist on your screen if you want further information. And I look forward to seeing you in the next interview. Bye.